Hello, this is Crypto CJ. Welcome to Crypto CJ's Trade of the Day. It's the Monday night Zoom edition. Got some frequent attenders, some new folks. Got a nice mix of experienced and new traders. So we'll get started as we usually do with the review of Bitcoin the last few days. I'll share my screen. And you guys should see my cluttered up, convoluted day chart for Bitcoin. You guys see that okay?
Yes.
All right, good. It's nice to see some movement off this bottom line, but we did have a dip over the weekend. Take a closer look on the 4-hour. And the trend line here did not hold. I was hoping it would bounce and then shoot up. Instead, it crashed through the trend line I had drawn on Friday. So I have a new and improved structure here, this channel. Dadgummit, it dropped below 39 again. So I'm not sure what's going on with this. It's been a little frustrating. It looks like we're going to pump and blow past 40,000, work our way back to 50. Instead, it drops in the 30s again. So not really sure why. Just people taking profits around 40,000 and waiting for the next cycle to turn. So I have a couple long positions now in Bitcoin and Ethereum, which were positive until I started this my research. Now Bitcoin's dropped quite a bit. We have had a really nice run up with Ethereum though. And I'll show this to you guys. Yeah, it's 13 straight days of green candles, though we're threatening a red one now. But I've never seen that before. Bitcoin had 9, Ethereum had 9 over here, but 13 in a row is pretty cool. The 4-hour chart, get a closer look. It's just hanging around this trend line. I hope it rides it all the way up to the, oh shoot, where was it?
Is that because of the hard fork that's coming this week?
I think so. I think this is, buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing that, it's not a rumor, but they've been talking about the London hard fork, or the EIP 1559, the least marketable name of something in the history of commerce. London hard fork sounds kind of cool, but anyway, so yeah, that's probably priced in, and all the NFT action and the other platforms that get built on Ethereum just make it more, it's just more usable, has more function, way more function than Bitcoin, which is essentially a store of value. So anyway, so it looks like it's gonna, even with a little bit of a drop, it's still well above the trend line here. So on the 1-hour chart, any questions or discussion you guys want to have on Bitcoin or Ethereum or the market overall before I move over to Altcoin Alert? Alrighty then, Altcoin Alert, what is hot and happening? All right, I've been trading Axie quite a bit the last couple of days, including today. Had some good results. Sandbox is now has the top spot. Axie was in the 90s earlier today. But Sandbox is in 96.5. So let's look at that. The Binance chart. And this was listed on Binance in last year in August. And Sandbox is another one of those NFT gaming type tokens. So it has, with Axie and another one called My Neighbor Alice, which is another weird name for a token, or just Alice. Those three I've traded quite a bit lately, as they have resisted to some degree Bitcoin's moves. So I like that. On the day chart, we hit an all-time high in late March. We got back really close to it a couple of weeks ago. It has trended down since then. Looked like it was going to come back yesterday, but it's red again today. On the 1 hour on Sandbox, trending down pretty much since the wee hours of the morning. On the 5 minute, do we have an entry? This looks to have a trading range in the last day between 62 cents and 60 cents. So right in this range here. So if I were going to trade this, I would be looking for at least a return to the bottom of the Bollinger Band here, which is pretty similar to where this the support is. And I'll show you something similar on Axie in a moment. But if you can catch this down here, ride it to the SMA line, it's about 1.5%. If you're feeling a little more risk tolerant, you can come up here and pick up close to 3%. Not great, but not a bad day trade. So that's Sand. Let's look at Axie. Yeah, so on the day chart, I've still got this left over. I'll get rid of that for now. We had an all-time high on July 27th, $53. It's dropped a bit since then. Down, 20+%. And I mentioned trading ranges a moment ago. This has been trending down since it hit $53. Actually, I wanted to show you this. Day before yesterday, or a couple days ago, it was around 45. It's been down to 38. So that's the multi-day trading. The daily trading range, which interests me more as a day trader, it's right around here. About 41.50 down to about 39 and change. So I was just trading this most of the day today. I caught this RSI drop here. I got in on that. I waited. I caught this to about 0.8%. I was using 10x leverage, so that was a pretty nice trade. And I got some of this too. So, and now it looks like it's going into another dip sequence. You could do a 1, 2, 3 dip. This is the first dip. We don't want to buy the first dip. Sometimes you'll get what we call a dead cat bounce, where just, shoots back up. So I think that's an obnoxious term for it, but that is what they call it. But that's not real common. So they usually do something like this. But here's an example of what I just said. When it comes down hard, a big candle here, and then bounces back immediately. Usually there's a dip sequence like this. This is more common. So I would keep an eye on this, wait for some evidence of a return. Probably get it right around here. 1.9% to the SMA line, not bad. But yeah, it's just beginning to dip. All right. Most of you who are on this have seen the iCoinPro 1, 2, 3 dip training. So this would be the first dip, and you would just monitor this for a while to see if you actually catch a third dip. We're sort of in a bullish cycle. It's hard to really label it. So sometimes if you get 2 dips and pretty strong candle action, and down here, the MACD crosses, get this blue line crossing over the orange line, that can be a go signal as well. But the 3 dips, that's a classic. All right. Any questions on Axie and the dip sequence?
How far down can the RSI go? It's below. Oh, it's just hit 30.
Yeah, it just hit 30.
Well, that's good, right?
Yeah, it's indicative of a dip sequence. On the 5-minute chart, I've had some success in the past putting alerts on the RSI 30 on a 15-minute chart. So when the alert goes off, like maybe right about here, well, let's not do that. Let's say this punches through around here and my alert goes off, then I go to the 5-minute chart and it's usually on a second or third dip by the time I look at it. So that way I'm not staring at a chart for 20, 30 minutes. But sometimes you'll miss some using the 15-minute chart if you don't use the 5-minute chart. So it just depends on how much time and how much computer time you want to do. So, and real quickly, I'm on the 5-minute chart here to put an alert on the RSI. Right click on it, add alert. Oh, that's divergence. That's not what I want. Since I have this divergence, I don't know if I can put an ordinary. Yeah. Sorry about that. Got the wrong chart up. But anyway, you right click on here and you get the menu and you can put 30 on there and you're good to go. So that's Axie. Let's see what else we have to look at. Voyager is only on Uniswap. I don't care to trade Uniswap, so I'm not going to be looking at that. Quant is bittersweet for me. We'll go ahead and go over that one. Quant has recently been listed on Coinbase Pro and Binance. Before that, I was trading it on CoinMetro. That's not here, but I can bring up the KuCoin. That'll help us out. So here's the day chart. It hit an all-time high yesterday, or actually earlier today, $185. And I was trying to catch this. I was trying to catch a low buy order right about here. I had 55 in, it went down to 56.2. So I just missed it and it's gone straight up ever since. So that's, it's good to be picky and snobby about your entry points, but sometimes you just miss and it's a little heartbreaking. So now I'm a day trader. I wouldn't have held it all the way up here, but this candle here would have liked that. 27%. Yeah, I would have been out at 20%, been fine, and a little bounce in my step after that. So
did you say you trade quant on CoinMetro?
Yes.
How do you like them?
I saw your email, so I'll respond to that a little later.
Okay.
But I like it. It's really easy to use. It just doesn't have much on it. So
yeah,
the volume's not so
heard.
great.
It's the choice. Okay, yeah. Thanks.
DJ, on this QNT, would you have played around with that all day, being as it was just going higher, 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 or would you take your first hit and go home?
It depends what I was seeing on the 5-minute chart. We're on the 4-hour right now. So let's see, this is July 20th. You can click this button down here towards the bottom on TradingView to go to a specific date. Yeah. I do this for back testing certain strategies I'm evaluating. So here's midnight. I have I put a low buy order in the day before and I go to sleep. And you see it just skirts around here and it doesn't hit it. So let's say I put in, 56.5 or something like that, and my order gets filled. So that's 4 in the morning Pacific. If I wake up, I usually start trading around 7 or so. And if I see that, I'm out. You know, actually, I might have stayed in it and then seen this red candle. I could also do what's called an OCO order, where I set a stop loss that's in profit, and then I put another exit up here somewhere. So that's another thing to do. I'm using stop losses a lot more in leverage trading now to preserve profit. And also obviously to avoid losses. So it can be used for either one.
Now, would you, as you see where you're looking at the one long candle, as you continue up, you got another 6 or 7 greens, and then you see it kind of waffle again. Would that be, if you were watching that, would that be something you would jump into up there? Is that too high knowing you're at the top end of the coin?
The latter, I would not have gotten into this.
Okay.
Would not be interested in this.
Just
Do you
trying
see
to
those
if my
dojis and
thinking's
those?
right.
What's that?
Just trying to see if my thinking is correct.
Yeah, and then someone said something about a doji.
Yeah, I did. If you see a bunch of dojis up there, that's usually indicative of a change.
Yeah, it can be. What Chris is talking about are these candles
at-
here, and these here. This is probably a better example here. A doji is sort of an undecided candle. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but this is a little more
That's the
advanced.
straight lines you get on some of those, right?
I didn't quite hear you. What about some of these?
That's the straight line that you get on some of these charts. That's a doji. When it doesn't go up or down, it's just kind of.
No.
No, that's not quite the same. The straight lines, usually nobody traded anything. You know, these are showing some wicks down in directions, like this one here, which is like a plus sign. Yeah, that's a doji. This is the doji here, where the wicks in either direction are pretty much equidistant. And that can be a sign of a trend change. Now, on a 5-minute chart, it's a little less persuasive to me than on, you know, an hour or 4-hour chart. But most of what I do is on the 5-minute chart, and I did take the time to learn what most of these meant, and how I can use them in my trading. But you know, Chris has a point in that if I see this trend action go down and I see these dojis and then maybe a couple of these printing green, then I might be in for a quick hit right about here. You know, for a quick 4.8%. That's a great day trade. You know, 4.8% in 15, 20 minutes. Love that. So it's a bit risky, but you know, something to think about. I did these kind of trades more in a strong bull market that ironically we had a year ago when I started out Altcoin Alert. Didn't even have to do much analysis. I just saw the AA scores and bought. But we don't have that kind of market now. So you got to do, you know, some analysis and.
Hey, where
try
did you
find the
click to
best
get that
exit.
calendar to back check it date? I didn't see
Yeah.
where your mouse was.
Down here towards the lower
Okay.
left. See
Got
that?
it.
You can also
Okay,
hit
I
Alt
didn't know
G
that
on
one.
your keyboard.
Seems useful.
All right. Okay, so what do we do with quant now? It's it hit the top of the Bollinger Band, fell through. It just punched through the SMA line. Let's see, Bitcoin's dropping. Bitcoin's kind of dropping now. We did have a good sized green candle, but another one red's forming. So Bitcoin's being kind of twitchy. That's going to affect most of the other coins. Quant looks pretty much just like Bitcoin right now. That's disappointing. I'm always hoping some of these newer upstarts can disassociate themselves from Bitcoin, but not this one. So on a trading range, looks like we're today between, you know, here, 166 and you know, about 146, this $20 range. So I'd probably look for a retrace down here, maybe a dip sequence. Yeah, try to catch this to the SMA line, which 4 or 5%, it's pretty good. In a dip sequence, the SMA line is going to curve down, so it's going to look more like this than this one right here, which is shooting up. So yeah, if we get some candle action here that's strong, but punches through the SMA line, it's a riskier move, but you know, you could try to catch that back to this resistance, 2.83%, or maybe the top of the range, you know, a little over 5%. So that's what I would do with quant. Any questions on this one? Alrighty then. So we've done 3 AA scores. Let's do the Elder Impulse sort that we've been doing the last few weeks. This is from Alan in the Slack group. He likes to sort using this function. You click where it says Elder Impulse Daily, and then you get the bullish values here. We're looking for bullish under Elder Impulse Daily, which is a charting function that blends, I haven't looked at this in a while, volume and price action, and the MACD, moving average, convergence, divergence, and then long-term sentiment as well. This is that Twitter information, that the momentum-based information we get off Twitter from the TIE. That's the other aspect of Altcoin Alert. So we're looking for bullish in both of these. We've got that with both Bitcoin and Ethereum. I've never seen that before, so that's very interesting. That the 2 largest volume coins are also classified as bullish on both of these indicators. Looking for an AA score of neutral or better. We've got that. A little disappointed in the trading activity. I'm usually looking for a thumbs up or a fire. We don't have that. Social activity is also kind of blah. On the 1 hour projection, I'm often looking for 5% or better. Not getting that here. Both are pretty low. We've already gone over Ethereum and Bitcoin in some detail, so I'm not going to do that again. But with these two, I tend to look for a good entry point and then just hold for a day or two. And yeah, that's sort of swing trading for me. And then down here, we've got bullish on Uniswap and Link.
Let's look at Link.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. See if there's anything else. I haven't looked at Link in a while. Let's check it out. All right, it's got a nice pump going on right now. That's interesting. So does Bitcoin. No, it's mimicking Bitcoin. All right, so the day chart on Link. We had the big pump in May. Huge drop, down 70%. Dropped a little bit more, and then last week or so, it's been pumping back up. We're only at a 50% loss now. Woohoo. All right, on the 1 hour, we've had some really nice price action. Almost all above the SMA line on the hour. So can we get in this now? I think it's too late. Yeah, we're already at the top of the Bollinger Band, not in my comfort zone. And it just seems to be mimicking Bitcoin. So.
But if Bitcoin's retracing, won't this retrace?
Yeah.
So if it retraces and we go to what, 23.25 maybe, the purple band, that one is. That would be an entry point, or am I all wet?
You mean, I was thinking this is kind of...
Not the SMA line, the one right below it.
This is the Bollinger Band standard deviation 1. So this is something you can use, if you've gone through the iCoinPro training on how to set up your charts, they're going to show you this one here, which is the Bollinger Band standard deviation 2. I've added the 1 and the 3. I don't know how important it is, but it can be an extra guide as where you want to exit and enter. So I know Justin Clark of iCoinPro, that we're going to talk about in a minute, he likes to set his buy orders down here on the 3rd standard deviation on the bottom of the Bollinger Band right here. So
Does he miss a lot?
he misses some, but he's a notorious snobby trader. He's a self-described trade snob. So
Okay.
when you have a balance as large as his, you can be
You can be that way.
I have a considerably smaller balance, so I'm more aggressive. So I have way more risk tolerance than Justin does. And that's not a criticism. He's obviously very good at what he does. So, all right. This is kind of fun. Okay, so I'm not seeing a real good entry point unless you want to take a risk and try to see if this is going to keep pumping. It might. But again, I want to get in down here or here. Like I don't like trading around the SMA line on the 5-minute chart. So you can catch a dip. SMA line's 2.2%, not bad. If you want to, let's say this retraces down here and starts to look like it wants to go up again, catch it around the SMA line and ride it for 2 or 3%, maybe even higher. So that's what I would do with that situation.
The MACD looks like it's crossing over again. Does that
Yeah,
mean
you do have a
gonna go
MACD cross here, but it's above the histogram, so that's a little less desirable when it's below the histogram. So,
okay, gotcha.
but this is common when we're above the Bollinger Band to have this cross above the histogram. So,
I see.
but not a total deal breaker. I've traded around here before. When we were pumping back in March, April, May, I bought a few. I was probably 50-50 in success. Let's say you do want to buy this. There's a tool I use, and I've done a few videos about this. I've included it on a couple of the Zooms. Shoot, where is it? Oh. Not finding it. It's a Fibonacci tool. I've got it down here in my toolbar. I'll just use this one. Trend-based fib extension. You can find the low, which is about here. One click, go to the top, another click, and you get this. So what most traders do who are using this tool is they set their exit for the 1.272. They're a little riskier, the 1.68. So if you were to get in now, 24.18, it's dipping a little bit. Yeah, it's coming down. The 1.272 would be 1.8% profit. 1.618 would be a 3.35% profit. So if you have a burning desire to buy something at the top like this, nothing wrong with that. You probably want to be ready to, it's risky. You might want to be ready to ladder buy if it drops. Actually, I hardly ever use that tool on the 5-minute chart. I would usually use it on the hour. But anyway, well, that's all I have for the Altcoin Alert coins. Any questions on what we've gone over before I move over to iCoinPro? Alrighty then, iCoinPro. For those of you who are new, there's a few of you on. I've met with the guys at CryptNation about Altcoin Alert and the fact that they have this information source, but they don't really teach day trading. So that's why I provided, iCoinPro, which is how I learned this in a similar program when I first learned how to trade back in fall of 2019, nearly 2 years ago. So, and it has that free training about the 1, 2, 3 dip, which I think everybody should know. And this is the full paid version, and it's got a few ways to find trades. My two favorite are the RSI Spy and the Buddy Coin Crawler. I'm looking mostly for dips. I'm going to sort by the 1 hour RSI. I'm looking for values 30 and less that are potential dips right now. This coin Fed I've traded before, it's close. Solana 34, kind of close too. So these might be two to look at. It's also got this drop down menu. So if I click here, it'll give me a trading view chart. So I'm gonna do that with Fed right now. All right, and we are a little late to this dip sequence. This is a teaching moment though. So we've got, it's kind of squeezy and then it bubbles out here. So we're gonna count our dip sequence at the bubble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But here's the thing, when you've got these really little candles going up and down that are really small, I'm usually waiting for a 4th or 5th dip. If I were looking at this live, I probably would have gotten in on the 4th dip, probably here. I've seen this green candle. I would have been, all right, cool. You know, I've been looking for a return to the SMA line about 2.7%. Unfortunately, this happens.
Yeah.
You know, it drops that amount first and then it recovers pretty quickly. So I would have set an alert down here, this vicinity for a ladder buy. It would not have hit. And real quick for the new people, a ladder buy is a second purchase lower than your first purchase. And the average of the two purchases usually raises, or I mean, lowers actually the exit point for profit. So if you have a buy, you know, here at 38 cents and another buy down here at 36 cents, you know, your average profit's going to be around, you know, 37 cents around here, or yeah, 37 cents. So plus you have twice the money depending on how you budget it in the trade. So I've done 3, 4, 5 ladder buys before. It's terrifying when you do that many because you have a lot of money at risk, but doing 1 or 2, I'm cool with that. I do it all the time. And if you want to learn more about that technique, which is essentially what you do when your trade goes wrong, it's what I consider a stop loss alternative. Then you know, look in my YouTube videos. Just do a search for ladder buying, and I've got about, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them at least that teaches the technique. Those were made during the bull market of earlier this year, so I was pretty cavalier about where I got. I would sometimes take 10, 15% losses and then get in and ride all the way up, back up, which is pretty aggressive. The way the market is now, you probably want to ladder buy no more than 5% below your first entry point. So keep that in mind.
DJ, this chart looks very strange. Look way over on the far right, and there's that little green volume candle, and that causes a big change in the price. Okay, but now go backwards to the left and you get 2 big green candles there, huge candles. Not much happens. Why did nothing happen?
That's a good question.
Hmm.
We could have a higher volume situation. Just the overall market has higher volume. So even though these guys spiked up here, it didn't move the price that much, where maybe we have less volume going on now. And so, you know, the price was moved by less volume. I'm
Yeah.
speculating, I don't really know, but that's,
I see something like that, I say run away.
yeah. You know, I've listened to a couple commentators on YouTube who think volume is overrated, which is like, what? But the explanation was interesting. it's kind of convoluted and technical, but so there's no one thing that we totally rely on. I don't totally rely on the RSI or candle action or Bollinger Bands or MACD or any of those. I try to have, several things going my way before each trade I take. And even then I could have 10 indicators telling me go, and then there's still probably a 20 to 30% chance that it's going to go against me. And then I'll have to ladder buy or even maybe take a loss. So all we can do is work with these probabilities, and Patrick has a point. This volume is kind of strange when you see, these giant candles and it doesn't move hardly at all, and then pretty minor ones here, and then a big movement. So, and crypto markets can be manipulated. Maybe that has something to do with it. But one would think
Is
that
it
would be
possible? Is it possible, CJ, that large green volume candle simply indicated that it countered what was going to be a big dip? Does it work that way, or am I right off track?
Not sure. Yeah, I could wing something, but I don't really know. And to be honest, I don't look at volume as much as I should. I look at indicators and price. I do have there's a volume indicator that Bryce from CryptNation uses a lot. Let's see, which one is it? Yeah, this one, visible range. So yeah, you can have these on the right side of your chart. It'll show you where the biggest volume is, and what Bryce teaches is that the price tends to return there. It has this red line which indicates the volume point of control, which is the highest point of volume in the chart that you're seeing. Obviously, when you move to different time frames, this changes. But
How did you get those lines?
when I get
Yeah, those.
these,
Uh-huh.
yeah, you go to function and you look up volume VPVR.
VP.
Yeah, it's listed on the far left, just above the green line.
Yeah.
Oh, VPVR. Okay, thank you.
VPVR, and that's how you get it. Then, like Patrick said, it's over here on the left on my charts. It's the last thing showing. I'm going to turn it off for now, but anyway. All right, so yeah, I guess on FET, well, we're on the hour. So on the 5 minute, we had a dip sequence, a big bounce going sideways now. What if this will, got 3 out of 4 last candles are red. It might start dipping again. If it punches through the SMA line, I might be interested in riding it around here, couple percent. I think I'd wait on this one. All right, let's get out of FET and we will go over to, well, that's the RSI SPY. You can also sort like this, and it'll show you what's really hot. So anything with a 70 or over is technically considered to be overbought. So, be careful there, but these coins are pumping. Rune has been one of the top coins today. All right, and then the other tool I like to use from iCoinPro is a Buddy coin crawler. For you new folks, this is the column that I like to sort, the average low to SMA. The low is the 24-hour low of the coin. The SMA line is that pink line you've seen in my charts between the Bollinger Bands. And I'm looking for 5% or more. Those coins are the ones that are usually good to move. Unfortunately, we're kind of squeezy right now, meaning that the Bollinger Bands are tight, so we don't have any large values. And I'm also looking for, pretty good volume here. Preferably I probably look for 50 million or more. So this one doesn't quite qualify, and I'm not familiar with this. So it's probably a newer listing. We already looked at Quant. I wanted to look at Rune because this one's been pumping. We already looked at FET, so we'll check out Rune. Thorchain. And you'll see some overlap with some of these coins between iCoinPro and Altcoin Alert. You know, you just saw the iCoin Alert or the iCoinPro listing there. If you go to Altcoin Alert, you'll see Rune listed up here as the number 2, you know, winner of today. So that's pretty common. All right, so on the day chart, the all-time high was here in May on the 19th, day of the big dump, 70% loss, 80%, and it's just starting to come back the last week or so. 1 hour chart, pumping up pretty strong. 5 minute, looks like the link chart we saw. Rune sometimes follows Bitcoin, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if Bitcoin's still pumping strong. So again, this is very similar to the link coin that we just looked at. I'm not comfortable in buying up here at the top of the Bollinger Band. I would wait for a dip sequence to get down this range here, you know, probably below $7 before I got in. I've traded this coin a lot in the last week. It will drop below $7 at some point, and then pump up above it. At least it has while I was trading it. A lot of it's in the 5s and 6s when I was trading it last week. So looking at support and resistance, we have clearly we have support here in the short term at 680, 682. That would be my preference. And look for a retrace back up here. Bollinger Band 5%, top of the Bollinger or SMA line 5%, top of the Bollinger Band about 11%. So let's see. Well, that's about all I have then for iCoinPro with the RSI SPY, and then the Buddy Coin Crawler does have a couple other tools. I like to look at the Fear and Greed Index. So this is lagging behind about a day. I looked at it this morning. It said August 1st, but neutral. That's not very helpful. It's been mostly fearful last few weeks. I usually look at this too, the oversold index. Not much is oversold lately. So, all right. Well, I will throw it open to any questions you guys have about day trading, iCoinPro, Altcoin Alert.
What did that oversold tell you? Sorry, Robert.
Go ahead.
I mean, why would you look at it?
I look at it briefly, like for a few seconds. It gives me somewhat of an overall condition of the market with some of the other things that we've looked at. If the oversold is high, you know, that means we're potentially due for a severe correction to the downside.
Sure.
But we
Okay.
don't have that now. We have the opposite because we've had this, you know, this big correction since May. So this is
Sure.
going to be a low number and for the foreseeable future. It did come up in June, and in July it was up over 50%, oversold. So
It must have been the last 3 days or something of July.
yeah, it says the 20th. So not exactly sure what was happening then, but yeah, so those are some other tools I look at. And then there's also this forum where Justin Clark, the co-founder will post his view of Bitcoin for the day, and he's on the East Coast, so I usually get it in the 6 o'clock hour. And then folks right here posting their trades and suggestions and coins that they're watching. So that's kind of cool. It's a much smaller view of our Slack group on Altcoin Alert. So, all right. Bitcoin's level.
Robert had a question.
Go ahead,
Thank you.
Robert.
Yeah, just while you're on that trading view chart, is there just a button that turns on the Bollinger Bands, or how do you actually get those
No,
to show up?
You've got to add all this manually. When you open a chart for the first time, all you're going to get is the candles pretty much. So to add Bollinger Bands, you go here to your indicators.
Okay,
Then you search for Bollinger Bands.
I see.
You know, and I always put a star by ones I know I'm going to, use more than once. So,
Got it.
and
Right.
then once you add them, you're going to put if you hover over, BB50, it's going to give you settings, inputs, and the default is 20, which is a more conservative. I'm sorry, 50 actually. 20 is more aggressive. 50 is more conservative. This is what iCoinPro suggests is the 50. So that's what I have. And there's a standard deviation we talked about earlier is 2. I think that's the default. But I've got 1 and 3. I just added 2 more sets of Bollinger Bands, but that's probably not entirely necessary. So that's how you add Bollinger Bands.
Thank you.
And you can do the same with, MACD, RSI. And I tried to create my own script and it didn't really work. But and then you can add strategies. This is RSI divergence indicator with alerts. Divergence is a little more advanced than I usually talk about on this show. I've been talking about it more, but you see some of these divergences flagged on this.
Mm-hmm.
But you can add this to your chart. You can put alerts on it. Bull and bear. So I traded this today multiple times. This is what I'm mostly doing now with my leverage is I'm putting alerts on this divergence indicator. And then I have a separate, for this market cipher that I use. This is a paid program though. But this is not paid. This is someone copied it. This VMC cipher divergence. So I've got 2 different divergences in case one of them misses. And so that's one thing I use. And then what's really easier to do is to do what I showed you earlier, which is the RSI alerts. Just right click on here and add your RSI. But it keeps defaulting to the divergence. I don't know why. All right, I know what I'm going to do. I need to show you guys this. This is important. So I'm going to open a different chart. You can create multiple chart layouts if you want. Let's do this one.
Can you save those so you don't have to do it manually each time?
Correct. I'm going to add the RSI. All right, so here's the RSI. This is the basic stripped down one that TradingView has. Right click on here. The third entry is add an alert on RSI. So I'm going to click that. It's going to default to the current value. So I want to know when it's crossing down 30. 30 is the low value. Once it's below 30, it's considered oversold. that means generally it means it's due to come back, to go up. I don't want this to go off once. I want this to go off throughout my trading day. So you can either go with once per bar close or once per bar. That'll keep it on until you turn it off. I usually use once per bar because I want to know when that RSI goes below the 30 as soon as it happens. If you click once per bar, I'm on the 1 minute chart anyway, but it's not going to go off till the end of the time period for whatever chart you're looking at. So, and it will do this on whatever chart you put it on. So there you go. So once this goes below the 30 value, you'll get an alert and you know that you're either in a dip sequence or starting one. So if you don't want it anymore, you can remove it, right click on it. Yes, I'm gonna remove it. So. And Luna has not dipped below 30 all day, which is kind of annoying. One of these little dips, I would have jumped on it. But you don't have to use 30. If you want to be more aggressive, you can use 35 or 40. Had I had a 35, I would have been aware of this one here. This would have gone off. So I could have caught this dip, maybe this dip sequence here. I probably wouldn't have stayed in that long, but anyway. So when the market's really pumping and the dips aren't as pronounced, I will sometimes, instead of use 30, use 35 or 40. So, any questions on RSI alerts?
Well, just going back to that point of saving these, formulaic graphs. So
Okay.
once you set them up, how do you save them?
Start from the beginning. So let's create a new one. You can do a new chart layout, or you can make a copy.
Okay.
Let's do one I would actually use.
If you copy, will it take all your Bollinger Bands and all of your setups?
Yes, that's why we use the copy.
Yeah. Okay.
So CJ's basic chart. This is my first chart that I've added to, over the months. Let's say I want to copy this. Now it's going to ask me what I want to call my new chart. So I'm going to call it CJ's test chart. Save.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now it's going to open a new window and it's going to copy everything that I have on there. Okay.
Right.
Well, I'm going to delete this, or no, I'm going to add to it. I'm going to add the RSI to this because when I tried to put alerts on this, it wanted to go on bull and bear. And I didn't want that. So keep everything else that I've put on. So this has got my Bollinger Bands, my 3 standard deviations, and that's about all I need on this part. I'm going to add the RSI. Let's say I want to move this up. I can do that with this. Move pane up, move pane up. Yeah, I can customize this. I can barely see that. So if I go to settings, style, I want big, fat, chubby lines like this. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I don't care about the band, so okay. And so now I've got my RSI that I can put alerts on. Yeah, that's what I'm used to seeing. I can use this RSI that's got divergence on it. I can put alerts on that. And I've got my MACD. I don't usually put alerts on that. I think RSI is more accurate. So now I've got all these indicators on this chart. I always turn autosave off. on all my charts. I want to save them manually. It sounds counterintuitive, but sometimes if you work on a chart for a while and you're marking it up with some of the trend lines you've seen me use, if you have autosave on, it'll autosave, and then you'll go to work on another chart and it won't get, it'll write over the prior chart. So I've lost many hours of chart marking up due to that. So now that I've changed this, I'm going to just click here and that'll save it. So now I've saved the most recent version of this new chart layout. So
Okay, now, do you change coins at this
yeah,
point?
I can change coins now.
Okay.
I'm on Bitcoin. I can look at Aave and it'll come up the same. See, it's showing me the
Okay,
RSI that I
got
put
it.
in. It's even copying the Fibonacci retracement stuff I did on the day chart. So it's got all that. So
And what is the publish button that's highlighted used for then?
that's if you want to publish your charts or strategies to TradingView for the masses to consume.
I see.
I'm confident, but not that confident. So it's enough that I'm doing this 2 Zooms a week. Maybe later I'll share my stuff with TradingView, but so wow, guys, I didn't plan on doing this, and we're at almost an hour already. So I'll take one more question, then I'm going to cut you guys loose because my daughter's coming over. So
Can
Well,
we
you
take
do
quick
have a
look?
full Zoom seminar on how to use TradingView.
yeah,
People
it's
can
true.
look that up.
Good point. Patrick provides a list of all my videos. I usually send it to my email list about once a month, the updated version. I haven't done that as much lately because I've just been doing these Zooms, but I'm going to get back to doing specific strategies and specific trades in the near future. Hopefully, at least by September. I want to feel confident in my trading approach with leverage before I do any more videos like that. But I have done videos about how I use TradingView and how I set up charts and things like that. So also done them on
Patrick,
ladder.
thank you,
Good to know.
Patrick, for doing that. I found your spreadsheet very useful a couple of times.
Yeah.
'Cause I-
Patrick's,
Over
I can't remember
150 videos.
Patrick's our hero for doing that.
Yay.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Anything pressing or urgent we need to talk about before we head out? Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for showing up. And hopefully we'll see some of you or all of you on Friday afternoon. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
CJ.
Thanks. Bye.